Welcome to this video report. I'll be presenting results of the project analysis conducted at this stage, and I'll make some observations and recommendations based on the analysis. It won't take too long to view the video, and there's some pretty important points that need addressing. The first thing we'll look at is stage 1 of the development timeline. This is broken down into months. We had a later than expected start in February. At the start, a production schedule was requested, and production was required to start straight away to make up for that late start. As we headed into the second month, the style guide and design templates were put in place. Also at this point, a general design philosophy was discussed and agreed upon. In the second and third month, we undertook production on the first module for our assigned development tasks. Heading into the fourth month, we're now in a position to increase output. This startup phase hasn't been without issues, and there's been slippage in the production schedule. The main issues at project start were that the production schedule was put in place before we were able to do an analysis of how long it would take to complete the tasks. Also, we had no prior access to existing content to do an assessment of resources before being required to submit the production schedule. When resources were supplied for the course, they didn't meet expectations. And also the workflow between internal staff and our consultancy took time to put in place. This resulted in some initial communication issues and bottlenecks, particularly in the area of instructional design. The outcomes from the second month were a bit more positive. The style guide and templates provided the foundation for uniform development to commence, and that's for both internal and external developers. Developing the sample module in the third month was critical, as it provided us with an indication of how long it takes to complete tasks and allows us to develop basic systems that are the catalyst for the large-scale production. I'm going to break from the timeline for a moment to show you a detailed breakdown of the outcomes from the sample module development. This is really important. It has critical implications for the overall project. While producing the sample module, we constructed a workflow that best suits the type of development we're doing. The workflow tasks are divided between instructional designers and developers. For each of the stages, we developed processes. This includes assessment plans, content plans, storyboards, media production, and then final instructional design tasks. This ultimately leads to publishing and course delivery. After building the workflow and establishing basic processes, we then had enough information to time out how long it takes to complete tasks in the development process. So the average time to complete a topic is 35 hours. The number of days it takes to complete a topic is 4.5. The standard industry charge-out rate is $1,200 per day. We discounted our rate on this project to $800 per day to try and meet the budget constraints. So at $800 per day, that brings the total cost of development per topic to $3,600. The budget allocation per topic is $2,000. Our loss per topic, unfortunately, is $1,600. So this analysis shows that budget and time forecasts have been dramatically underestimated. This obviously has a significant impact on the project, not only from our perspective, but for internal production as well, because their time breakdown is much the same as ours. For the 6 modules we're developing, we'll have a $90,000 shortfall in budget. In order to address the issue, we need to have a look at why this has happened. In our experience with startup projects, we've always produced sample content, timed the tasks, and developed systems prior to having to provide a production schedule. This is a typical startup procedure for new projects requiring media development. The extremely tight deadlines placed on this project have meant that normal startup procedures have not been followed, and this has led to critical issues developing. In my opinion, we need to go back to proper startup procedures and reassess production schedules based on collected evidence rather than a wish list of dates and deliverables. This should get production back on track. On a positive note, the basic systems developed for the sample module have set us up well for increasing output. We're now in a position to start large-scale production. Of course, we have to keep in mind the time and budget blowouts highlighted in the initial development. Under current scheduling, there'll be a threat to quality as everyone tries to develop based on previous forecasts when it's clear that they've been dramatically underestimated. I think it's important to look ahead to the completion of stage 1 and see what needs to be adjusted to make development both efficient and viable, irrespective of who's doing the development work. The first step is to have a more realistic price point for development. We estimate that if media production alone was undertaken, then the cost should be around $2,000 per topic. If media production and instructional design were undertaken, it should cost around $3,200 per topic. In my opinion, this is the lowest possible price point any developer could go to achieve the expected outcomes. So in reality, we need to align the budget more towards the original quotation submitted for tender. We agreed to the price reduction based on a sizable reduction in deliverables. As the production analysis has revealed, the expected reduction in deliverables didn't materialise. Taking into consideration the key points addressed in the report, the critical success factors leading to successful production require revising the budget and time forecasts that have been underestimated, and focusing in the short term on developing robust production systems that allow for scalability of production. In my opinion, if these are not addressed, then production will always be behind schedule. So in closing off the report, there's obviously some pretty significant issues that need addressing in the short term. However, I believe the project has great potential, and there's every opportunity to build a world-class facility delivering courses to a happy bunch of students. Please let me know if you've got any questions.